This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Perk, it's so Dolphins. Mike McDaniel actually calls his best offensive game. Not that his team was best prepared because they still made the stupid mistakes and the penalties and all that stuff. So that goes on McDaniel. But so Dolphins that you actually come up with a solid performance, and you ran the ball again for 4 straight weeks now. You have run the ball. You have taken care of the quarterback, whoever's been back there. And yet your defense can't stop a cold, bro.
Well, you know what, Big O? It was a lot of things today. Look, the Raheem Mostert fumble didn't help things because they take it down and score from it. But at the same time, you had that Jalen Ramsey interception, right? And they take it down and score from that. This was one of the most crushing, heartbreaking losses that I have covered in 16 years of covering the Dolphins. They did so many things right. Now, you can't have that Jordan Poyer helmet-to-helmet hit toward the end there. But, look, that's a tough play. Now, Poyer has got to aim lower, but that's a tough play. It's not a boneheaded play. I don't put that in the same category as a turnover. I mean, a guy who misses an extra point hits a 61-yard field goal to win the game. I mean, the Dolphins are just cursed here. I mean, they're just cursed. Now, they played a good game today. Did they play well enough to win? Obviously not. They played probably their best game of the season. The Bills are just the better team. I don't blame this on Mike McDaniel. This was just, they got beaten by a better team here. And
oh yeah, there's no doubt they got beaten, but they had a chance to win. And if they don't make the mental errors and they can get a stop or two in the second half, dude, you win the game.
Well, but that's why Buffalo is the better team, because they can do that stuff and the Dolphins can't. Look, there's probably, 80% of the teams on the Dolphins schedule, if they play this well, they win. You don't win playing like this in Buffalo. That's the difference. Like, you can't have the Raheem Mostert fumble, and you can't have the Jordan Poyer penalty, right? So, this just wasn't your day, which is hard because it drops you down to 2-6, and you lose your 9th straight game at Highmark, and Josh Allen is your daddy once again. That's the way this season goes. That's the way it is. Dolphins versus Buffalo. By the way, Mike McDaniel, now a 500 coach, 22-22, including the 2 playoff losses. So there's that.
Yeah. They're I think 4-10 now in their last 14 games.
Yeah, I mean it's bad. It's really, really bad. And look, and today was probably a highlight game in that stretch, right? And you still lose. It's bad.
Oh no, it's terrible. And the fact is, you have enough talent to have more wins on the board, and
you do.
And that falls on McDaniel. And the sad part is, the last month of running the ball, bro, it took you 2.5 years to figure that out.
Yeah, but you know what, Big O? I mean, you're still 1-3 in that stretch. Like you rush for 193, 188, 155, and then what was it today, like 139 or whatever it is, and you're 1-3. You really, really need those big plays from Tyreek and from Jalen Waddle just to really spark you. It's really, really tough to win without that. And that's kind of where we see the poor construction of this team. But look, like you said, Mike McDaniel did have his best play calling game today. He did. And I said that on the video with David Furones that we do for SunSentinel.com, that Mike McDaniel called a really good game, but you just got beat by a better team in a location where you never win at the most inopportune time of the season. Now you're 2-6. And your playoff hopes are pretty much over. Pretty much.
Oh, please, dude. They were over last week. Please, come on.
Well, you know what, Big O?
I know the whole mathematical stuff and all that kind of stuff. And I know you guys want to write a little, hey, hang on, there's a little hope there, Dolphins. But come on, bro. This thing was coming off the rails in the Colts one already, pretty much. That's where your season pretty much went to crap.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would go before that, but yeah, it did. I don't look. I never thought that this team had what it took to win a playoff game this year. I thought that this was going to be the down year of the Mike McDaniel era. I thought last year was the year that you should have made your run. After day one of free agency, you knew this was going to be a rough year, right? You lose Wilkins, you lose Hunt, you lose Van Ginkel, and you're looking at that team going, they're not going to recover. But I didn't foresee 2-6 and this is just disaster. This is absolute disaster.
Yeah, no, and where do they go from here? You just ride out the rest of the season this way?
I do, yeah. Yeah. I think so, because look, again, you have to decide what's going to be your path forward. If heads start to roll, to me, you've got to start with Chris Grier, but again, you've got to untangle some knots there, because is the new GM going to want Mike McDaniel? And if he does, then what about Tua and the quarterback situation? Do you go for a high draft pick, or do you go for the veteran backup? I say the veteran backup, but there are all kinds of things that if anybody loses their job, if McDaniel goes, what about Tua? What about the GM? There's a lot of things that you've got to make some tough decisions. Now, look, other organizations make these decisions every year. For some reason, the Dolphins seem to stumble when they make them, and they make a piecemeal decision where you get the new quarterback and the old coach and the old GM are still there or whatever. So they've got to take this time and see what happens the rest of the year. What do you want to do at GM? What do you want to do at coach? What do you want to do at backup quarterback? Do you want to trade any of the big name people? And you have to go from there. Me, I'm pretty much I'm keeping the players intact. You've given them contract extensions and all that.
I don't think you can trade anybody, dude.
Nobody's going to help you out.
It's not that. It's that you're so financially strapped now to all these.
You're committed.
You just gave them the contracts. You cannot start trading these guys, because then it all accelerates and you'll be forced to cut other people.
Yes.
So for me, this is why I actually think the only change that really could be made would be the head coach, because then what you do is you run it with somebody different next year, and if it fails, everybody goes down, and then that after into the third year of a lot of these deals, you can start to now release people, you can start to cut people, and you can start to really take the team down to rebuild it again. But you're basically stuck with this roster for at least another year until you can start to really pair off guys. And so if you are, then here's the thing. Here's my problem with all of this. Mm-hmm. And I haven't been able to find out who hired Mike McDaniel. Who hired him?
That's a good question.
Let me run something by you, okay? Chris Grier and his dad worked for Parcells, okay? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is what they're around. His brother's a hockey player, okay? Right. Then after they, Grier leaves, takes a job with the Dolphins, working for Jimmy Johnson, okay? His dad retires. Now, when Grier finally gets his chance, he goes for a Belichick disciple. So he's been around the disciplinarian type his entire life, okay? And his brother's a tough guy because he's a hockey player, too, on top of all of that. Then all of a sudden, they go completely off script and go to McDaniel. And I just wonder if the people above had any influence in this, or anybody else had influence, because it doesn't go with the DNA of the guy that supposedly is at the top right now, because everything Grier's been about has been more about the disciplinarian type of dude. Even though he's a calm, cool, and collective guy, that's all he's been a part of. And then they went McDaniel. So I wonder, and they keep sticking with McDaniel. So I wonder, is there more to this hiring than you and I know?
Well, I don't think that Grier made the hire. I think Garfinkel and Steve Ross were probably more instrumental than Chris Grier. And I think that going against Flo, who was the disciplinarian and who Tua hated, I think that had a big part of it too. And then Mike McDaniel comes in, and all he talks is Tua. I'm going to make this guy into a Hall of Famer. And they're like, brilliant. We want our quarterback to be a Hall of Famer. We spent a number 5 pick on him. That's the answer. And it's like, yeah, that really wasn't the answer. I think that this was a Greer Garfinkel, Steve Ross, anti-Brian Flores, pro-Tua decision. And if you want to untangle all those knots and get rid of McDaniel and wonder who's going to be pro-Tua coming in, well, that's another deal. I'm not sure that Tua is going to be as effective in another system. You almost would need to get another Shanahan system guy to make it. Dude,
you just got to build, Doggy. You just got to build a line and run the ball, and Tua will be fine. It's the same shit for Breeze. It's the same shit for anybody else. Build the line, run the ball, throw to the damn tight end, and everything else will work out. You just got to have a defense, bro. You had no defense today. No defense today. None. You played offense to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, your offense has been okay the last 2 weeks, 27 points both times. You've been okay, but again, like your offensive line is fine. Dolphins fans have got to stop defaulting to the offensive line. Look at what you've done the last 4 weeks.
Offensive line is not a problem, and it has proven if you run. Look, dude, the offensive line was a problem because you made them a pass line. And that's all they were doing is pass blocking. And you and I know we watched this kid enough. The left guard, pass blocking is not his forte. But if run blocking, he's a tough dude. If he could get his hands on you, that's probably better suited for him and better suited for all offensive linemen. They finally brought balance to it, and all of a sudden the line looks a hell of a lot better than it ever did because you're running the ball. But the last 2 weeks, if you don't stop anybody, Perk, you're not going to win shit in this league, dude. You're just not going to win.
You know what? You're right. But I think the bigger problem for this team is they need that big passing play to win. They do. Like, again, look at how you've piled up so many. You probably lead the NFL in rushing in the last 4 weeks, and yet you're 1-3. It's not because of the defense. Like, you've allowed 30 points this week and 28 last week. You've got to have that big play. They have locked up Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, and your team is in big trouble. You need that big pass play the way that this team is constructed to help you. Like the run game provides you balance. It's not going to win you games.
Falcons 27-21. Raiders scored 24. Bengals did score 41. Chargers 27-10. Titans 20-17. Commanders 27-22. Panthers 23-22. Ravens another outlier 41-10. Jets 21-13. Most of the league scores that you got to stop people, dude. The points that the Dolphins scored overall is what goes on in the league overall. Look, last week 28-18, 30-24, 18-15, 27-20, 28-14, 31-10, 26-8, 23-20, 30-27, 31-26, 25-22, 28-27, 52-14 outlier, 29-24, 37-17 outlier, 30-20. That was all last week, dude. What the Dolphins have scored the last 2 weeks, it's winning football on offense. It's losing football on defense. I don't know. That's
I don't think it's that simple. And here's the thing, Big O. I just don't like that McDaniel and Tua are such sacred cows. Like the last 2 weeks have not just been the defense. Like you can't lose fumbles. You can't. Okay. Like your defense bailed you out on a. Now look, Jalen Ramsey was beaten by Keon Coleman. Keon just happened to bobble the ball, and Jalen snatched it out of the air.
The defense bailed you out because they were about to get bitch slapped at the 1 yard line.
That's what I said. I mean, you got lucky.
And by the way, to drive from the 1 for a score, that's a badass offense.
Yep. But here's the thing, Big O. You are an offensive team. You win with offense. Like Jalen Ramsey got a contract extension, but more importantly, Mike McDaniel and Tua and Tyreek and Waddle got the extensions. They need to win games.
Kansas City won the championship because of offense? I'm sorry.
No, they won with defense. They won with defense last year. Clearly.
Okay.
Clearly. Clearly.
Perk, you're not you refuse to give up that you have to stop people, bro. You
No,
got to stop people. The Dolphin defense laid down like a hoe on a Diddy party the entire second half, bro. Okay? In fact, I have video from a Diddy party of the entire Dolphins defense laying down, bro. You got to stop people, Perk. You got to stop people.
You do. Look, Big O, again, like 80% of the teams on their schedule, they'd have stopped today, right? You were playing Buffalo. You were in Buffalo. Josh Allen is your daddy. That's the way it goes today. But most of the teams on your schedule, you'd have won today. You'd have won. That's the bottom line. You were playing in Buffalo today. Most games you'd have won, even with that defensive effort. You'd have won.
No. You can't win with a defensive effort that you allow the offense to score in every possession, Perk. They allowed the offense to score on every possession. There's nothing looser than women at a Diddy party. Come on, bro.
Big O, at some point you've got to outscore somebody this season, and not just Jacksonville 30-27. I hear you. The defense did not give a good effort today, especially late. But see, to me, you're an offensive team, right? You were number 1 in offense last year, number 6 the year before. You gave out all these contract extensions to the offensive people, and you're sitting back going, well, we scored 27. We should have won. No, when have you stopped at 27? When has 27 been good enough? Like, you handed out all these contract extensions and you're going to say, well, 27, we should win. No,
you just
35, score 42.
You just went through a couple of weeks where you couldn't score with a fistful of dollars in a Diddy house. Now that you actually have an offense that can score anywhere, you're now asking for more points. Can't we ask for less points from the defense, bro? I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, Big O.
You needed an answer, and they went and answered and tied the game, dude. I mean, it's like
I understand, Big O, but if in the previous 2 seasons, when you needed more, you got more from your offense, not your defense. You didn't build a defensive team. You built an offensive team. You didn't build an even team like San Francisco and Philly and Kansas City. You built this offensive juggernaut, and it can't score. It can't score enough points to get you to the playoffs or to win in the playoffs. Get you to the playoffs this year, win in the playoffs ever. Like, I think your bigger problem, I've said this from the start, the Dolphins' biggest problem is their offense. It's not their defense. It's their offense. I'm sorry. It is. Like, you win games with Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Mike McDaniel, Raheem Mostert, all those guys. That's the way this team is built. That's the way the contracts are paid. That's the way the extensions were done. Yes, the defense needs to be better, but ultimately you win games with this offense. And when you don't win games, that's where I look first.
I got something for you, sir.
Yeah. What you got?
Okay. You know that today was the second highest point scored against the Bills defense today? It was Arizona week 1, 34-28. After that, it's 31-10, 47-10, 35-10, 23-20, 23-20, 34-10, 31-10. They averaged 10 points against this defense, okay? And then Miami lost 30-27. Perk, you're unrealistic, my brother. Now you want them to do the things that nobody does against their defense. Nobody scores 27 points. The last time somebody scored 27 points against the Bills was in week 1, and they scored 1 more point. Everybody else pretty much scores 10 points, and a couple guys scored 20. Again, the offense did more than enough against that defense to win today.
Yeah, see, I look, they did. They had their best game of the season, but it wasn't good enough. Again, when I want this Dolphins team to do something special, I turn to the offense. I don't turn to the defense. The defensive line has nobody on it. You don't have a pass rush. Your linebackers, they're okay. They're okay. I mean, this is an offense that I thought was going to light up the scoreboard, right? Like this offense is supposed to be special. It's not special. It's not special.
Nobody lights up Buffalo.
Well, if you want to win the division, you've got to be special. You've got to be special to beat this team. You've got to be. If your offense isn't going to be dude, if you come into this game into Buffalo thinking our defense is going to win, you're not going to win. You're not stopping Josh Allen. You're not. It's unrealistic. Like your offense is special.
But it's not like a lot of offenses are constantly scoring 30-plus points every week.
But you aren't a lot of offenses. You're the Dolphins. You paid Tua. You paid Jalen Waddle. You paid Ty. You're supposed to be special. You're supposed to be different. Like you can't settle for, well, they were good enough. It's the defense. No, you're supposed to be special. This is how you win games. This is how you were going to win a Super Bowl with this offense. It's not good enough. It's not.
The Great Fear sends in a super chat. He says Perk would have blamed 80s Marino for losses.
No. 80s Marino had a poorly constructed team, a more poorly constructed team. Look, yes. I'm just saying
they really had no defense.
McDaniel and Tua are not the sacred cows to me. Like they've got to be more special. They've got to be more special. They do. They've got to be better. They've got to be better than Anthony Weaver and Jalen Ramsey. McDaniel and Tua have to be better.
All right. What do you got going on the Sentinel so folks can check you out, sir?
Boy, I tell you, this was a crushing loss in a quiet locker room, subdued locker room. I haven't seen these guys like this maybe ever. I mean, I've covered some tough Dolphins losses over a 16-year period on this beat. This was one of the worst. Boy, I mean, Big O, the guy makes a 61-yard field goal, at the buzzer.
It would have been good from 71, bro.
Right. And as you say, the Dolphins did play a good game. The defense gave out. The offense played a good game, but I think they really, really expected to win. I think they thought that they were playing good enough to win. So that's what I'm going to write about tomorrow. Just kind of a crushing loss in a very subdued Dolphins locker room. I really actually feel bad for these guys.
See, did you hear him at the end? The offense played well.
I did.
You see?
But they've got to be better. They've got to be better, Big. But they just got to be better, Big O. They got to be better.
You better resurrect that jersey I have in front of me that says Marino on it or something, bro. I mean, Jesus Christ. Now we better resurrect, Hey,
Zonka. Yeah, we can
and all that.
We got to resurrect them all, I think.
I
think that's where we're at, Big O.
Follow him on Twitter at Chris Perk and catch his exceptional work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Perk, as always, you're a stud. We will catch up next week, my friend. Thank you.
All right, Big O. Thanks, man.
You got it. There you go, Chris Perkins. I can't believe it, bro. I can't believe that he can't agree with me on that. The defense let us down today, bro. They did not show up today. Now, Eric from EJD Construction, he will show up every single time. Dade and Broward, 305-433-4843. Proud sponsor of that segment right there. Thanks to Chris Perkins. Thanks to Eric. Always getting it done with the folks at EJD Construction. We've been on this platform for almost 5 years now. They've been with us since day one, fully insured, liability and workers' comp. You can trust them. People I know you can trust. Call Eric, 305-433-4843. They do it all. Shell construction in-house. That's how they keep the prices down. And as creative as you can get, that's what they can make come to life. Call them, 305-433-4843 for ejdconstruction.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.